Welcome back to Automation Airwaves. I'm your host, Kent Andrews. Today we're going to talk about business process change management, just another episode in our change management series of 5. So today I want to talk about just that topic that we don't all think about when we're including another technical solution into our suite. We've got to think about the things that we need to measure and the things that we need to manage as we bring automation into our ecosystem within our organization. We have to ask ourselves, what are these reasons that automation is being brought into our organization? And how is it going to affect the current processes, the people, the technology that are involved in the current manual processes within this organization? Ultimately, we bring automation in to remove difficulties and pain points that we have in existing processes. We have identified specific processes as good candidates, but have we talked about what really is involved to make this switch an actual success? We may be looking to improve process based off of compliance. There may be volume issues. We may have just human error or things that are getting in the way of capacity management and or enterprise growth within the organization, where automation really can come into play. So the question here is, where do we start? It really starts with bringing forth this conversation to the right people and looking for the proper stakeholders that will be affected by this change in your organization once automation is brought in. We've got to spend the time and do the due diligence to bring in that right information to them so that they understand what automation is. Many times we'll run into our clients and we'll realize that it's not the matter of that they want to bring in automation. It's how do they do it effectively? How do they do it at scale? How do they get past some of the stall points and the challenges around their human workers who have processes and tasks that are being taken off of their plate? And how do we involve them in the solution? So as we run through the analysis and creating some of this value mapping, we want to make sure that we're looking at, first of all, processes that provide value. You've all heard the cliche, a bad process is still a bad process automated, and this is a very good example of that. So we want to make sure that we are looking for the gaps in those processes, those are being identified, that the right people are having input as to what those are. We want to fix that process prior to the automation. Now this may all seem very intuitive and all might make sense, but let me tell you from experience, 9 out of 10 of our clients have not thought about this because they view automation as a technical solution that they can bring into the organization that's going to magically fix and or increase their productivity. There is a lot of other things that need to be taken into consideration. Process change management has quite a few defined stages that it must go through, and we must do things like define an absolute beginning and end, and then set up those goals and what we're going to measure as we actually deploy automation into our environment. If you think about process change management, there is a circular type motion that occurs where as you go through existing iterations and continued iterations, you do find that you can improve on the process, and that needs to run back through the same program. That's where maybe your continuous improvement opportunities will occur. And as you mature in your program, you're going to want to take into a few more things that might have not occurred to you at the beginning. We call the concept of TAPI, which is Total Automation Program Yield, the concept behind defining what the benefits are in automation that aren't linked to tangible green dollars. Some of these items you might consider would be customer experience. What type of experience is the customer receiving back from this automation and how it's put in place and providing better access to the data that they need? There are other items like associate experience. And as you can imagine, we are automating the tasks and some of the roles within our organization. So if we can improve their experience by taking some of the mundane, repetitive tasks that they're performing daily out of their workday, they're going to become more effective, and that creative capacity that they're going to have can be well utilized in other spaces. You may also have audit risks and compliancy controls that you need to work around. As we know, automation is 100% auditable, and it does a really good job at providing structured data sets for compliancy when we go back and look at this at a program level. There are also quality pieces that we want to take into consideration, and if we think about these components, how do we define them effectively, not only from the beginning of your program, but at the end? If we looking at ROI and return on investment only is not going to give the true picture of the effectiveness of your automation program. Let's keep in mind that when we look at change management, that we're looking for specific and measurable goals, and as we bring those technologies into our ecosystem, we need to make sure that we are keeping track of those people and those processes and those technologies that we are affecting to have a successful implementation. So over the last couple minutes, we've talked about quite a few concepts. Maybe there's been some thoughts that you haven't thought about in your own organization. If you need more information or you have other questions, please reach out to us at agilifyautomation.com. There is quite a bit of information on the website that talks about change management and how to bring it into your company. There are also some materials out there with some reports that talk specifically about the stall points that I referenced earlier as well. Once again, I'm Kent Andrews. That's Kent Andrews RPA on LinkedIn. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Thank you, and we'll see you on the next episode.